Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Zack Snyder's Justice League, starring Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Amy Adams, Ray Fisher, Jason Momoa, Ezra Miller, Willem Dafoe, Jesse Eisenberg, Jeremy Irons, Diane Lane, Connie Nielsen, J.K. Simmons, Kieran Hines, Ryan Zing, Amber Heard, Joel Morton, and Jared Leto. Barely, I'll talk about it. And directed by Zack Snyder. Now, I had to watch this twice for this review, and there's some things that was better improved than. Well, let's not spoil the review at this point. Let's just get straight into it, shall we? We pick up where Superman, returned by Henry Cavill, was killed by Doomsday and screams as the waves go around the world, and we see Lois Lane, returned by Amy Adams, Wonder Woman, returned by Gal Gadot, and Batman, returned by Ben Affleck, witnessing it. And we see Lex Luthor, returned by Jesse Eisenberg, witnessing Darkseid, getting 3 boxes as the end of the world, and Cyborg, played by Ray Fisher, hears it, and the mother boxes light up, and we see that in Cyborg's house in the ocean in Atlantis, where we first see Mira, played by Johnny Depp's ex-wife Amber Heard, and at the Amazon world, where the Amazonian women fight to protect the 3 mother boxes from Steppenwolf, played by Kieran Hines. And that's probably the better way to open the movie than Batman attacking one of Steppenwolf's minions. And this is a much bigger improvement than the scene added by Joss Whedon, and can't make sense of it because Warner Brothers wanted these scenes cut out of the theatrical cut, which is a big mistake because they wanted 2 hours of the original cut. And remember, I gave Justice League the original cut a 3 out of 10. Back to the Amazonian world, they witness the box shaking around. Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne goes to the mountain to find the town where the Aquaman, played by Jason Momoa, is hiding and tries to talk to someone who might know where he is, and sees Arthur Curry and talks to him about trying to help Bruce to become a team, and he says no. And some singing begins with some girl smelling his sweater, and I thought, what the hell? At the end of the scene, which felt weird to me, but this version is better than the theatrical cut, sure. There's parts of the story cut out like a Quentin Tarantino movie, and Martha Kent, played by Diane Lane, has been behind on payments on her house and moves away from her home, which did happen in the theatrical cut, but here I feel more bad for her in this movie. But she'll say later on she found an apartment by her work at the diner where we saw her work in Batman vs Superman. And Lois Lane visits, Superman's memorial place. And I also feel bad for Lois here more than in the theatrical cut. We get a robbery scene, which was in the theatrical cut, where Wonder Woman fights the robbers and stops a bomb from exploding. And I swear to God, these DC characters, they don't kill people. Actually, they don't actually kill people. And that bothers me way too much. And she kills them off, and she helps up a little girl that wants to be like her someday, as she's inspired by Wonder Woman. But the score is supposed to be intense? Because it got repetitive and cheesy after a while. Queen Hippolyta, I don't know if I'm saying that right, returned by Connie Nielsen, and her Amazons are introduced to by Steppenwolf, or intruded, by Steppenwolf, and they battle while protecting the box, and Queen Hippolyta makes an escape with one of the mother boxes. But that won't be enough for Steppenwolf, and I like Steppenwolf's look and voice so much better than the theatrical cut, as he sounds a hell of a lot more menacing than he did in the theatrical cut. After getting the other Amazons and Steppenwolf in the water, Queen Hippolyta makes one of her warriors protect the mother box, and Steppenwolf as his army starts attacking the Amazon warriors as they run on horses, and Steppenwolf grabs the first mother box and takes off all to his hideout. And the sound didn't feel as noisy as the theatrical cut, but I felt like I had a headache from the volume on this thing, as not that loud, as I like to keep my TV on either 50 or 55, but here I had to turn it up to like 80, and it's not that loud of a movie. Steppenwolf hides in Russia. Meanwhile, Bruce looks for the other heroes like the Flash, played by Ezra Miller, while Alfred, returned by Jeremy Irons, says possibly when Bruce asks to find the Flash. Silas Stone, played by Joe Morton, leaves the laboratory for the night, and the janitor is killed by Steppenwolf's minions, or demons, whatever they are, I don't know, rather too quickly. Parademons, that's what they're called. But he didn't matter for the film. In the next scene, Queen Hippolyta shoots an arrow at the shrine at the Amazon to tell Diana that War and Darkness is coming. As she learns it's on the TV, Silas gets interrogated about the mother box, while Ryan Choi, played by Ryan Zing, doesn't know anything about it, and he's a useless character. And Steppenwolf hiding in Russia in a deserted area, which makes me think of Chernobyl, but it's not bad, and I'm liking these characters much better than in the theatrical cut. Maybe some of the stuff in the theatrical cut I don't need to talk about, but I'm going to anyways. Diana searches in Greece where the Amazons and sees the three mother boxes as it says a message about war and darkness coming by Darkseid. And I really enjoy how much darker it is than the theatrical cut. Arthur saves a sailor's life, which was also in the theatrical cut, and gets whiskey going back in the water. As he swims, he's encountered by Volko, played by Willem Dafoe, as he's asked to become a king while his brother is causing war against the surface, and grabs his trident as the Aquaman. And as Steppenwolf messages another being I thought was Darkseid, but I learned in this movie his name is Desaad, who's Darkseid's assistant villain. And this scene was great looking for representing evil from both Steppenwolf and Desaad, and I like that scene. It works very well, and I swear to God, I like the way how they sound. It sounds demonic. Diana comes to Bruce to say the war is here, and we get a flashback of men, Atlanteans, and the Amazons and the Guardians of the Stars, which is the world of the Green Lantern is from, as Darkseid fights each of those groups of armies with his very own army, and it's very well explained, unlike the theatrical cut, as Darkseid takes off in his ship, and they hide the mother boxes separately, one in Atlantis, one in Amazon, and one with men, which will end up in Gotham City, and are all hidden, which makes so much sense about the mother boxes, whereas in the theatrical cut, it just jumps right into it anyways, which felt lazy on Joss Whedon's part. In Central City, Barry Allen is late for a job interview while Iris West tries to get her car started, as some trucker pays more attention to getting his burger than the road and bumps Iris, and Barry saves her life. And Zack Snyder's music choices are very weird in all of his movies. And I'll talk about one during the credits that I was not a big fan of. I swear to God, the man likes to remake music just for the hell with it. And I like Ezra Miller's take on The Flash, as he was my favorite character in the theatrical cut, and he's even my second favorite character in this movie. My number one would have to be Steppenwolf, even though he's not part of the Justice League, sure, because of his menacing voice. Speaking of which, he gets three Atlanteans and gets a spider to search for the second mother box, which reminded me of the second Transformers film, where there's a spider creature trying to find a map, or the MacGuffin, I'll say, which was a similar scene to a movie I've seen before and that I did not like. and I don't like it here. The slow motion by Zack Snyder is getting absolutely ridiculous in this movie. Just stop slowing the movie down, Zack. It needs more editing. It works so much better as it goes on in the scene where Victor Stone plays college football. Before he becomes Cyborg, he is, and he's just upset with his father wasn't there for his football game as he and his mother get into an accident with his mother dying and his father resurrected him, or Ting, I'll say. He's brooding like Batman would do as he plays a tape recorder, maybe by his father with a message. While he's learning to fly, he moves things with his mind and his imagination, and he spies on an ex-lover of his who was poor, but she won something from the bank, which seems rather random, I guess. But odd that a bank would give you free money like a snap of a finger. Until he crushes the tape recorder, I swear to God, I thought the narrator in that scene was Lawrence Fishburne, but he's not in this. But it's Joe Morton the whole time, which did confuse me, but I like the dark routes it goes, but I don't necessarily like the slow motion in this movie, as Zack Snyder does it too often in his movies. And this is 4 hours long. Don't use the slow motion, Zack. Barry visits his father, who's played by Billy Crudup, in prison, as his father doesn't want him to visit him in prison anymore, and I still don't feel heartbreak for his father. And this scene was also in the theatrical cut. Barry goes into his hideout, also in the theatrical cut, and sees Bruce sitting in the dark as Bruce tries to recruit him as the Flash, until Barry realizes Bruce is the Batman, and the Flash is recruited just like a snap of a finger because he needs friends, which is still the funniest scene in the movie. And people in this movie drive like maniacs, which does feel like today in general. Diana has a little scene where she helps Alfred with drinking tea, or not making tea, excuse me, until Cyborg messages her and tells her to meet him at a location alone. And she tries to recruit him to save the world, and he says, fuck the world, as he doesn't want to, as he's already in enough pain as it is. And this character feels depressing until he eventually gets on the team. Feels depressing. And it will take about a few minutes, sure, while Victor buries one of the mother boxes in a cemetery where he was buried, which felt kind of painful. And I'll say it now, I don't want a Cyborg movie, as his life is depressing. Silas comes home from the lab, at night for the night, as Victor is gone and he's captured by Steppenwolf's parademons. And next thing you know, Commissioner Gordon, played by J.K. Simmons in a very wasted role, talks to the team of Batman, Wonder Woman, and the Flash, and now Cyborg does join along, which was the same scene in the theatrical cut as it could have improved. Mira and the Atlanteans get attacked by Steppenwolf until Arthur comes in and fights him until he's beaten up by Steppenwolf. And he grabs the second mother box, and Arthur and Mira talk briefly, and that scene was in the theatrical cut too, and again, can be improved as far as the acting goes. And Mira's British accent is really bad, as it was in the theatrical cut. After the meeting with Commissioner Gordon and Cyborg joining the team of heroes go under the Gotham Harbor to fight the parent demons, which is what are along with Steppenwolf himself to save the scientists, including Silas and Ryan, with Batman's line from the trailer, "My turn," as he gets in his Nightcrawler and shoots the parademons. And the action is done maybe a little better than the theatrical cut, particularly when Aquaman comes in as the harbor drowns everyone and saves them, and the scientists are saved as well. And that action sequence, Mr. Snyder, I'm not going to say well done, I'll say it's pretty good. Steppenwolf finds out where the third mother box is, and which is on the planet, and doesn't find it as Cyborg has it, and Steppenwolf talks with Desaad as he knows where it is, and also talks with Darkseid. And I enjoy these menacing voices by these actors as they do a good job with them as characters. The team of heroes go back to the Batcave and they find a way to beat Steppenwolf, which is Superman, and they figure out to resurrect him, which is Silas's laboratory, which is where the ship Superman was on. Meanwhile, Martha visits Lois as she's heard Lois wasn't working at the Daily Planet since Clark Kent died back in Batman vs. Superman, as she says it's too hard for me to go back to the Daily Planet after Clark's death. And Martha leaves as it was Martian Manhunter? Well, or the general disguised as the general from Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, as he's the Martian Manhunter? And that was a twist I didn't expect at all. The heroes dig up Clark's grave and bring his body back to Silas's laboratory. And thank God we don't have that scene where Bruce torments Diana and she pushes him. And she doesn't get upset with him because Bruce tells her about the leader to be the leader of the team, because those scenes in the theatrical cut were absolutely terrible. They go to the laboratory rather quickly, which is an improvement, I guess. They put Superman's body in some kind of orange liquid, and no, it's not urine by any means, while Lois grabs coffee for the guard of Superman's memorial, as the Flash can resurrect Superman with his electric power by touching the mother box while it's dropped in the orange liquid. While Cyborg sees the future deaths of Wonder Woman and Aquaman and seeing Superman as a bad guy, like in Bruce's dreams, and the Flash touches the mother box to resurrect Superman as he comes back to life, and the mother box is on top of a smashed car as Superman goes to his memorial and fights the Justice League and beats their asses until Lois comes in before killing Batman, and he brings Lois back to his home in Smallville, and Martha goes there as well, while Steppenwolf comes inside the laboratory to get the lost mother box as Silas has it, and Cyborg comes in as Silas sacrifices himself, and Cyborg is knocked down by Steppenwolf, and the heroes try to find Steppenwolf's location as Bruce takes his teammates to his satellite hideout. And I noticed Batman's voice comes and goes for about half of the movie. Not that Henry Cavill's CGI looked kind of bad, but it's sort of an improvement, I guess, over the theatrical cut. How does Martha know where Clark and Lois are? And Amy Adams, I feel like, is wasted in this movie, and so is Diane Lane, and she's water in all of these movies. Cyborg finds Steppenwolf's location and fixes the flying bat, while Bruce tells Diana about the dream he had back in Batman vs. Superman, and they go fight Steppenwolf as Bruce says Superman will be back, and Alfred asks how, and again Bruce says faith, while Steppenwolf's task is with the mother boxes is complete, and Superman grabs a black suit and visits Alfred and asks where the rest of the League are as they arrive to Steppenwolf's location in the final battle between the Justice League versus Steppenwolf and his parademons, and take out the parademons out one by one as they get close to Steppenwolf. Aquaman pushes Steppenwolf away, and Diana comes in and fights him with Aquaman and Cyborg, while the Flash is charging the machine, or some machine or something. I'm not sure what he was doing there while Cyborg gets the machine to work, while Wonder Woman and Aquaman distracts Steppenwolf, and he almost gets to Cyborg and cuts him off until Superman comes in and says, "Not impressed," and beats Steppenwolf's ass while with Wonder Woman and Aquaman as he gets the final punch on Steppenwolf, while the Flash is shot and badly wounded. And the more Superman punches, the bigger the sound wave and they goes, and they see Desaad and Darkseid as they're too late and the Flash is healed. rather quickly because he was shot earlier, and runs and sends a message to his father as he receives time and brings everyone back, while Victor visions his family together again as he chooses to live and asks Superman to cover the box as Darkseid, and decide to realize Steppenwolf failed. And the action has some cool moments, and the special effects in those scenes were pretty cool as well. The Justice League wins the battle, and the epilogue battle begins as Victor hears the rest of the recording from Silas and Art as Arthur comes back home to his father, and Ryan gets director of the laboratory. Bruce and Alfred get a big mansion for the League, and Barry shows up as shows he's getting close to having a job, and Bruce buys the Bank of Smallville to get the Kent house back together, and Diana visits Greece because of the Arrow, and Clark goes back to work at the Daily Planet. Lex Luthor breaks out of prison and gets a visit from his yacht by Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, as he wants to build a league of his own to destroy the Justice League. And we get to the future of the world as as Batman's dream, or Bruce Wayne's dream, as Batman's team includes Cyborg, Deathstroke, and I'm led to believe, the Flash, and Mira gets a visit by the Joker, returned by Jared Leto. Very briefly, by the way. Offers a truce to the Batman and his league, as they're found by an evil Superman, until Bruce wakes up, and the Joker feels so wasted in both this and Suicide Squad. Don't cast him. And he gets a vision from Martian Manhunter, and this climax is done better than the theatrical cut, as the Lex Luthor scene is sort of good. But the worst thing about that scene is Jesse Eisenberg's acting, and the Joker is again barely doing anything and he barely has anything to do, and Jared Leto still remains the weakest Joker, but out of any of the other Jokers in this world. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 7.3 out of 10. The acting, special effects, and the story is an improvement over the theatrical cut, as it made much more sense. There were times Ben Affleck's Batman voice was coming and going, and I love how menacing the voices of Steppenwolf, Desaad, and Darkseid are, and I like how they brought a Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter into this version. And the slow motion stuff was done over and over again, but the good news is it's an improvement over the theatrical cut. But stop the whole slow motion thing. And before I end the show, I must say, at the end of Wonder Woman, or at the beginning of Wonder Woman 1984, I said that I wasn't going to do this. Or no, it was the end. I'm sorry. That I wasn't going to do this. Surprise. I reviewed this show. And before I get to the end, I should also say, I don't like that song Hallelujah, that voice that lady gives at the end credits. I don't like that song at all. It just sounds very not nightmarish, but it sounds like it almost sounded like Jennifer Hudson, but not as good. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me and for this Justice League series, and I will be back with the Suicide Squad in August. And until then, justice is served.